And now for a new segment on Speaking of Spirits. Jesse and I have been working on a road trip series where we talk about the history and hauntings of towns across America. Enjoy.
Good evening. I'm SOS and I'm here with my bestest.
Blah, blah. I'm here with Messy Jessie. I don't say blah, blah, blah.
Where are we headed to? Because we need a road trip.
We are going on a road trip because, we need it. You guys, we are going to Vermont. And Vermont is beautiful. I'm just saying. It's like picturesque. But we're going to go to Cambridge, Vermont. Surprisingly.
It is a little tiny town, isn't it?
It really is. And there's some interesting stuff that goes on there at Cambridge. And every time I think about Cambridge, I think of the Cambridge College, but I'm thinking the other way or some wrong direction. But anyhow, we're going to Cambridge. Okay. And so on November 1st, 1841, there was this guy, and his name was John Fassett. He actually and 64 other people came across this beautiful, rough, uneven, and, on the base of Mount Mansfield. Is that what they call it? Which it's kind of like, huh?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Mansfield? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Mansfield. Which towers above like an altitude is what they say. It's beautiful over there. Has some rolling hills and trees. And they decided to start Cambridge. It sits along the Lamone River forms. It's like a basic water source for this place. And the town kind of sits it says from east to west and is joined by minor streams north and south. So it seems like a pretty cool little area. The town originally contained about 20 to 24,000 acres, but it's 2 miles from like a part of like Sterling, where it's kind of an annexed area. So Cambridge is kind of in a small area, but like kind of like a reach out from a major city, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So John Spafford was the first settler of this town. He came there from like Pure Point, North Hampshire, or New Hampshire is what they call it. It was crazy how they had different names. In 1783, he cleared like 2 acres of land. He planted the corn. Corn was actually a poor crop is what they called it. So corn was like the main crop for people who were starting out as farmers or anything like that. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. What they say, like corn really and cornmeal was actually one of the main diets of people who were not in the highest society, if you could say that. So, which I found that pretty interesting. So it was kind of interesting.
I'm imagining too that the corn is also you would have to feed your livestock. There you get a lot of snow here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so you would have to feed your livestock, and then all the corn, all parts of the corn plant are edible too. Mm-hmm. Like the horses and goats and cows and
Yep.
So yeah.
He likes the corn.
They do.
It was funny. And that's what it is. So when in November for his family consisting of his wife, his 2 children, and during the next summer, Amos Fassett came abroad, Stephen Kinsley, John Fassett, must be brothers, weird, and Samuel Montauk from Bennington, Virginia. And then they had couple other people. These were farmers that had joined from Mr. Facet's family. These settlers were joined by others from time to time. And so in 1791, the population at that time, the town was like 360 people, which was a lot back in the 1700s, if you really think about it. Now, the first meeting was held at the house of Jonathan Robinson on July 1st, 1783, pursuant to warning published in Massachusetts Gazette. At the meeting, John Facet was like a close chosen moderator for this area, and Joseph Stamford, he was the clerk. It was voted to lay out the first division lots for this town, and Amos Facet was appointed the surveyor of the place. It's kind of crazy how all these people come in and they're appointed all these hoity-toity titles and able to be, oh, we're going to go ahead and have Mr. Amos be a surveyor. I don't know. I was just thinking when I was going through the studying this and how, these people came, of being these people. Anyway, I have no idea. I'm just talking. It's been a long day.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of how they started Cambridge. It was kind of a discussion of, okay, do we want to survey this town? And, do we want to start this town as being not too far away from the major cities? So it was kind of a fight with Cambridge and how to start Cambridge. So very little information on that. So the facilities for Cambridge, there was like transportation and exports and imports that came along on the rivers too. So there is a major river there in Cambridge, and it was used for a lot of the transports from the city. Okay. They did also build Burlington and Lamole railroads from the former, towns from the north. And that also extends south of Cambridge Junction. And it turns east. And so the neighborhood railroad is just completely, they started that. I am completely lost. We may have to stop. I have no idea where everything is. And I'm like, what? I must have been drinking when I did this stupid thing. Because here I am. I'm like, what the?
That's okay. Yeah. I can edit that.
No, we're just going to keep on going.
Keep going?
It's fine. Let's just, okay. Note to self, this is the day and age where Missy Jessie has messed up for the first time and ever. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of Cambridge. There's not a lot. It's just an extension from a major city. There is a little bit of, information, but it's super small. I did find,
it is his fault.
Yeah, I did find just a little bit, that there was a few famous pictures and books that are, have been in movies around that area. There was a few couple shots that Beetlejuice was filmed in.
Oh,
was
really?
There. Yeah, just a couple shots, nothing, too big. There's just not too much about Cambridge, honestly. Yeah.
Well, there's not, and I didn't find a whole lot of things to do.
No. We have, Cambridge and the neighborhood Johnson, so they neighborhood each other, were together known as King's College Tract. This was created by the Lieutenant Governor, here we go, Cadwallader Colden. Okay, Cadwallader Colden. I don't even know where this guy's name's coming from. God bless him. by the authority of King George III, in 1764, the King's College tract was reserved for eventual establishment of the university on site. So the name Cambridge suggests that the University of Cambridge in England. So Johnson and the other town, which sits outside of Cambridge, King's College grant was named for William Samuel Johnson. So that made no sense to me. Yeah, just not a lot. I feel like I'm letting my listeners down today.
No, I didn't find a whole. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, what's wrong with us when we decided this town? But little towns got to be done too. There's a few things to do.
Yeah,
the Boyden Valley Winery and Spirits. That sounds fun. Okay. They have a tasting room. And
hey, you know what? If Cambridge has got one thing going, they got a tasting room. We're good.
Well, and it's really pretty too. I looked up the pictures of this, and it's really gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
The tasting room is located in an 1875 carriage barn.
Oh yeah,
it is really beautiful. So it's so I guess this is considered the Vermont's Green Mountains. Like I thought they were all green back there, but they have award-winning wines, cream liqueurs, maple bourbon, and so you can go and check their website for like their hours of operation. They serve cheese with their wine on their outdoor patio, and it's so gorgeous there that just being there I think would be really, really cool. Yeah. There's a couple of covered bridges there. Not much on like information, but they're cool to see because we don't have that many left in the U.S.
No.
And we had one in my little community in Pennsylvania that I lived in, and it was they're one-lane little covered bridges, and I just love them.
Yeah.
There's a place called the Valley Dream Farm, and it's directly beneath Vermont's highest peak. It has so there's spectacular views there, and you get like you can have a guided tour of the flower farm and pick up a bouquet. You can take a hayride. Sounds really cool if you're into it. They also host weddings there and events and stuff like that. So, and then this sounds probably.
Really... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What?
I was just thinking maybe that's part of how this little town is surviving, as it could be. I mean, obviously little things around the area, and the college there is a college. It's not that far away. But I think a lot of it too is like, from what I seen was, tourism because of how beautiful it is.
Well, and the fall foliage and all of that kind of stuff that people go for. This sounds absolutely cool to me, and I want to go because they do it winter, spring, summer, fall. They offer dog sledding adventures. Because you can train your dogs with dog sleds, but they have wheels, right? They have tires. Oh. So they learn how to mush, and they know how to do all this stuff. My cousin did the Iditarod, and he got, I guess they have an award for the last place winner. It's called the Red Lantern Award, and he won that. But he made it.
Awesome. But you know what? You made it.
It's impressive.
Right?
He made it. So,
I think that's awesome.
But I think it would be really cool to do the dog sledding thing, but not freeze your ass off. I'm just saying.
I can't even make it to my car in the wintertime, so God bless them.
You'll meet me back at the winery, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I did find some hauntings. I don't know if you were done.
No, I have two more things.
Oh.
Okay. There's the Arbor Trek. Now, this sounds really cool. Arbor Trek Canopy Adventures. So you can get to the tops of the trees and do ziplining through the tops of the trees in the canopies. I think that would be really cool. There's 8 different zip lines in the forest, and there's 2 sky bridges. You can rappel from the trees. There's a tree obstacle course. I just think it would be really, really cool. It's open from mid-May to the end of October. They have climbing stuff there. That'd be just so much fun.
So I wonder how tall the trees are. Are they like redwood tall trees, or are they like?
They're pretty tall. They're those hardwood trees get pretty darn tall. I don't think they're redwood tall, but they're pretty tall. So
I wouldn't mind doing it.
I think it would be so much fun. And then this place called Smuggler's Notch. And it's a mountain pass in that county in Vermont. And it separates Mount Mansfield, which is what you mentioned. It's the highest peak in Green Mountains. Right. From Spruce Peak at the Sterling Range. And it's in the state forest. But it derives its name from, let's see, there was a request by President Thomas Jefferson to prevent the American involvement in the Napoleonic Wars. Who do you think? Right. And the Embargo Act of 1807, which forbade American trade with Great Britain and Canada. So, and it all had to do with trade from Canada into Vermont. There was goods and livestock. They would smuggle them through the Smuggler's Notch to get them into the U.S. or maybe up to Canada. And then fugitive slaves also used the notch as an escaped route to Canada. So it was widened a little bit and improved this notch, this natural notch in the mountain for cars in 1922. Right. And then later it was used to smuggle in alcohol during Prohibition. So there you go. Smuggler's Notch. Okay, what you got?
So there is not so much inside the little town of Cambridge. A lot of stuff is kind of a little bit outside, if you would say. We have the old Barlow Street School. It's about 14 miles from Cambridge. It is a pre-1900 old Barlow Street School, was more recently used for the St. Albans Haunted House and Halloween event from 1979 to 1989. Holy gosh. That was a long time ago. I remember those years. But the Halloween event may had acquired some real haunts. Legend has it that it is in the 1920s. A school janitor died from a heart attack in the girls' restroom, and his spirit may still remain in the building. Their witness has described an apparition that appeared in the south wing upstairs window, and that the very window never stays closed. And even when it's nailed shut, it'll still open. There's cold spots, footsteps, eerie sensations, and voices have been described there. So that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have the Green Mountain Inn. And I think you were mentioning about the tall mountain there. I believe it may be Green Mountain, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
This is about 15 minutes from Cambridge. Former inn horseman Bootsberry is believed to haunt the inn. He was born in 1840 in room 302. He is the son of a chambermaid and an inn horseman. He became an inn horseman himself when he was awarded a medal for saving some stagecoach passengers when the horses ran away. Taverns all over gave Boots free drinks from that time on, which, he never turned away. Alcoholism, he lost his job and he became a wanderer. He actually eventually landed in New Orleans prison. Another prisoner taught him to tap dance, and is to believe that that's how he earned the name Boots. Boots came back to the inn years later, and in 1902, he saved a little girl who has been trapped on the roof in the snowstorm. But during his efforts, he fell to his death. And so, according to legend and hauntings, during a snowstorm, folks can hear the ghost of Boots Berry tapping across the roof, is what they hear. So,
wow.
It's kind of crazy to me. Yeah, that sounds interesting. And then we talked about bridges, and we have the Golden Book covered bridge, and it's called Emily's Bridge. This is a small wooden covered bridge. It is said to be the residence of a haunt. Some stories say that it wasn't a little gal, she was actually a teenager. Emily was disappointed after her fiance didn't show up for the elopement, and so she hanged herself on the rafter.
Ooh.
Others say she was just run over by runaway horses and knocked to the rocky banks below. But there are several stories about this Emily. You could take your pick from whatever the legends or stories. It's kind of how it goes in a small town. You tell one person, and who knows what it'll end up at the last.
Yep.
So no matter what happened in the past, now the site has been shared of paranormal activity, or has a share of its own. Visitors have reported strange noises, screams, and scratches on cars that have been parked on the bridge. Some have reported seeing Emily's ghost. Huh. Crazy. Wow. I think it's crazy. Everything. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I came across. I mean, a lot of the other stuff is really kind of far away from Cambridge. So yeah, I mean, beautiful town, a little bit of history, and maybe those listeners who are from there, they can say, let's redo Cambridge again, because obviously Missy Jessie didn't do her studying very well, or I did this while I was drunk. So,
well, we have those nights. So
we do.
It is a small town, and it's unfortunate. I love the small town stuff, but it's hard to come up with a lot of information on some of these towns. But yeah, I only found one review. It was a 4-star. One review. I went to 5 different websites. I only found one review.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it's a small rural town, tight-knit community, and it has the best elementary school. Local economies, like you said, based on tourists visiting Smuggler's Notch or staying in Stowe, and it has a high blue-collar workforce. So not much of a review other than it had a great elementary school. So I just think it would be a fun little town to visit, but it's a drive-through town. Yeah. Stay there for a day, see some sights, and then go on your merry way. But if you live there, let us know. Let us know if you've been there. So
yeah.
That's it, folks. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.